587.
Very, very good. Life's race goes to the swift.
My name is Jean Kryling, and I'm a resident of Cranford.
Yes.
I want to thank you very much for holding this meeting tonight.
Certainly.
I'd like to ask you where you stand on the President's budget plan, which proposes to cut Pell Grants, food stamps, Medicaid, health care, and Social Security disability.
Thank you.
President Trump also proposes to give the rich huge tax cuts and to completely eliminate the estate tax, which will richly benefit the already very rich. So if you can tell us
Yes, thank you.
whether you support any of these cuts.
Thank you. Regarding the budget document, I do not support it. There are provisions. You're certainly entitled to a longer explanation than that. The President proposes and Congress disposes. And one of President Obama's budgets was put on the board for a vote several years ago and didn't get any votes, not a Democratic vote, not a Republican vote. Budget documents tend to be statements of a blueprint as to how to move forward, but they almost never are the appropriations of funds. And the situation in Washington is different from Trenton, and I think it's confusing to the public, because in Trenton, when we talk about the budget, we talk about the appropriations of funds, and that happens at the end of June, and I'm familiar with that because I at one point chaired the Assembly Budget Committee in the New Jersey Legislature. But the budget document in Washington is merely a blueprint as to how to move forward, and I think the cuts are too significant. And for example, there is a significant cut to the EPA. We just passed a continuing resolution to fund government for the rest of this fiscal year from a couple weeks ago to September 30th, the end of this fiscal year, and there was virtually no cut in the EPA, I think 1%. So that is a better indication, in my judgment, of what Congress will do in appropriations of funds. Now, I think it's very important, for example, that there be funds in the budget, at least to begin the discussion on the Gateway Tunnel, which is important to New Jersey and New York. I think the Gateway Tunnel will involve funding from the federal government, the state of New York, the state of New Jersey, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, as an example. I am also the Republican chair of both the Arts Caucus in the House and the Humanities Caucus in the House, and there is a Democratic chair as well. Congresswoman Slaughter is the Democratic chair of the Arts Caucus in New York, and Congressman Price of North Carolina is the Democratic chair of the Humanities Caucus in the House. And I favor continued funding of the NEH, National Endowment for the Humanities, the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Having said that, the President's budget moves in the direction of trying to balance the budget in 10 years. And I do think that we have to do a better job in trying to reach a balanced budget, recognizing that the glide path is such that we're not going to have a balanced budget this year or next year. And I think some of the assumptions in the budget document we all hope that the economic growth is 3% a year, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be that high. But I want the audience to know that I certainly would like to see as strong economic growth as possible. But to answer your question, I do not favor the budget as introduced, and I do not think that it will be passed. One wonders whether any budget will be passed, and the real way the rubber meets the road is through the appropriations process, the appropriations bills for the various departments. There are 11 appropriations bills. And we in New Jersey have, as chairman of the Appropriations Committee, Congressman Freeling-Heisen. He is the only New Jersey. He's the only New Jerseyan who chairs a major committee, and I am certain that he and I agree on the priorities I have mentioned, including the NIH, including the various cultural organizations, and including the Gateway Tunnel. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.